Hey y'all, Ren of Taurus Rising, back with you this week again for our weekly Wellness with Tarot, and we are continuing our Fool's Journey series. Just a quick little recap, I like to do that sometimes, that we're going through the Fool's Journey, and here's Gus saying hello. We're going through the Fool's Journey, which is sort of this metaphor for the major arcana cards about the journey that we all go through to some degree, these kind of universal turning points and archetypes in our life's journey. Don't mind Gus making noise over there. And today, last week we did the Hermit, so this week we are on the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune, also the name of a famous game show, which I love. The Wheel of Fortune, as you can see, we have a wheel here, and then we've got the four fixed signs of the zodiac: Aquarius, Taurus, Leo. I can't remember what the other one is, but y'all can see the four fixed signs of the zodiac. And we also got some other symbolisms here, the Sphinx, and really what I see the Wheel of Fortune is that just, sometimes there's good and sometimes there's bad. Although I guess here on this Earth School, we feel the need to describe things as good and bad, but generally things just are. But that sometimes there's times of fortune and there's times of misfortune. There's times of hard times and then times of like abundance and positivity, and that's just life, right? That's life on life's terms. That sometimes tragedy strikes, and sometimes things make sense, and sometimes they don't. So that's one thing about this card is it's like the mystery of the fortune, the ups and downs that we all face, and some things that we face in life maybe feel like destined or karmic, or sometimes things are going so great and then they don't work out. It's just, you never know. And it's the great contrast of life, that there's pain and there's suffering, but there's also good times. And so this card is a reminder of that. So as the Fool goes through their journey, they discover that life sometimes is just out of their hands. Like, you can't control everything and you can't predict everything. And you just kind of have to ride the wave and have acceptance when things, go bad, or when they go well. And I think some of that too is embracing the like the good times, and like relishing in them, and not, not having fear over them. I think sometimes people are afraid to enjoy the good things because then they're afraid something bad will happen. But eventually something bad is going to happen. That's just life, and that's just the mystery of life. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. It's just, life is complex, and it also moves in cycles. So this card is also about cycles. We have cycles everywhere: moon cycles, stages of life, um, growth and development. Just this, it's a cyclical world that we live in. And sometimes the pendulum swings up and sometimes it swings the other way. And that's life. And that's, as the Fool goes about their journey, they discover this, and we all discover this here in Earth School. And so that is our card for the week. So once again, we're asking ourselves, where do we need, I think, maybe not even that's just the energy, but the wisdom, or where do we need to think about this card in our lives? The energy of this card, the wisdom of this card, what can this card bring us in our lives? In this reading today, I'm using this card. The Wheel of Fortune is from the Radiant Rider-Waite deck. I always like to use that one just because it's kind of a classic deck, so I like to use that one for the Major Arcana card that we're working on, and then using the Ethereal Visions deck for the actual reading. So what we'll do is we'll pull a card or two, as we usually do. All right. Okay, where do we need the Wheel of Fortune energy, wisdom in our lives? Four of Wands. Here we go. The Four of Wands reversed. So to me, the four represents like grounding home. Like in astrology, the fourth house is house about home. Um, and you kind of think like walls, like perhaps four walls that hold up a home. So it's a grounding number, the number four. And it also really to me represents home. As you can see, there's a structure here, a castle or a home, you could say. Um, in the traditional decks, like the Radiant Rider Waite deck, um, oftentimes you'll see on that card there's a family or a couple. There's family. So I think this is about really home, family, um, and that could look different for anyone. Um, Not everyone has the same sort of family makeup, um, but just home and family generally, a sense of um, maybe community too, um, but that sense of home, which you can find in yourself or, you know, literally in a place, a location. Um, Maybe even if that isn't your actual home, maybe you find solace and home in your like your library. Like maybe you're in school and it's the library on the campus that you go to, and it's like your home away from home. Um, or like some people have those hangouts that it's their home away from home, or maybe a friend's house. But to sort of this, not even just specifically like a physical home, but whatever that place is, that inside or outside, that sense of home, and it's reversed. So there's, to me, there's like a block or a resistance, or maybe fear around home, sense of belonging to. Um, for simplification, I'm just going to say home. We'll just say that. Home and family, that kind of vibe. And there's like a fear around maybe loss or like not feeling grounded, I think, when this card is reversed, or maybe holding on too tightly to something, over identifying with maybe a particular home. Like this could be an example of like maybe you're moving or you're having to sell your house or something like that. Um, there's this upheaval and this sense of home, or like when families separate, when someone has to move for work, maybe when someone is graduating and leaving the home, or a kid is moving out on their own. There can be some upheaval and this sense of like what this home is. That's what I'm getting from this card. And where do we need the energy of this card, or the Wheel of Fortune? Well, yeah, I think when there's changes, um, especially in whatever your home is. And I think that it could also mean a sense of your own self and who you are. Because, you essentially are your home. Wherever you go, there you are. Um, Metaphorically, I guess perhaps just your body. Your body is where you live, where your soul, your spirit lives, and that is your ultimate home. And we often have shifts in our identity. So whether this home is a sense of like actual place or like family, like some sort of tangible of like what your home is, like maybe you're in a relationship, um, domestic partnership or something, like that's your sense of home. Um, like that kind of, so sense of home within self or place. Um, Sometimes there's changes in that, like temporary or permanent, or maybe there's a shift in your identity because maybe you're leaving, like a career or something like that, and you found home and identity in your career. So wherever you're sort of like you feel at home, be that an actual physical space, a family structure, some sort of thing that you'd identify as home. Sometimes there's shakeups in that. There's changes, and maybe they're not an actual big structural change. It's more of like a temporary, or like schedule, seasonal kind of shift. But it can be very ungrounding when your home, whatever that is, tangible or otherwise, is shaken up. And sometimes that is even just like you growing and changing, and maybe shedding old ideas about yourself. And when that happens, that's so disorienting, right? So that's where you need that sort of acceptance of change, of that there's things don't always stay the same. Like if things stayed the same, like if that's just, it doesn't happen like that. Like things have to change and grow and evolve. Um, and if you need things to stay the same forever, then you're going to be destined for disappointment and pain. Um, and so accepting changes, I think when like big changes um, and shakeups happen, especially close to home, um, it can be very, it's like the rug was pulled out from under you. Sometimes it's exciting, but oftentimes there's, I think, more fear and fear and anxiety, and loss and grief and panic when that kind of sense is pulled out from under you. So if maybe if this card is resonating for you, maybe you're having to move. Maybe it's even your choice that you're moving. Like even if it's just you're moving same city but new home, or if it's a bigger thing like divorce, separation, um, kids moving out of the house, maybe a roommate moving out of the house, or like maybe you're changing jobs and your job felt like you're home away from home, or just some sort of shakeup in that sense of like your home and belonging and family. Um, then this card is like a a wake up, not a wake up necessarily, but just an acknowledgement of that things change. And I think we can see outside changes happen a lot, like with the seasons or with inflation. But when those really rock your like actual day to day living, it's very hard to metabolize. Um, and so just sort of this leaning on to that life has changes and fluctuations, and that there will be good times. And this is a really hard time, but there will be good times. And to have acceptance around all of that versus resisting it. So because this is in reverse, it's like more like it's like um, a resistance and fear, or it could even be like maybe you're thinking about making some changes in the way related to home, like maybe you want to upgrade your home, but you're afraid to spend the money or to move to a more expensive place. Um, and just yeah, like the resistance around maybe changes that are happening outside of your control or maybe within your control. That's another aspect of the Wheel of Fortune, is it's sort of like sometimes these things are out of your control. Like if you had your way, you would keep your job and you wouldn't be laid off, or you would not be getting separated. Like if you could call the shots, then you would have things the way they've been. But sometimes outside forces, which that's part of Wheel of Fortune, karma, destiny, external forces, are part of those outside like fluctuations and changes and cycles. Um, but sometimes things are out of our control, and you don't have to like it. You could. It's not about liking it or okay, fine. I'm gonna have. I'm gonna be just fine with it. Sometimes there's grief and moving through that. So this reading isn't to say like, oh well, life is ups and downs and changes and just deal with it. It's like a coming to terms, and it's a life on life's terms, and acceptance and surrender when you're at that point that you can do that. I feel like I've talked in circles a lot on this, which is perfect because this is a circular card. Um, but we still have a little bit of time, so I would like to do a second card on this. Do that thing where I pull the card from the bottom. Okay. Where else do we need, what do we need to hear related to the Wheel of Fortune and our own Fool's Journeys? Oh, the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups. Whenever I think of the Seven of Cups, I almost think of sort of analysis paralysis. And the Rider Waite card, the traditional card, there's like a figure who's seeing these 7 cups with like, it's like almost like these options, like what to pick. Um, so, so I kind of think about the 7 of cups as almost like um, struggle making a decision or analysis paralysis, but also fear, because in this particular deck, it's cool that there's this beast kind of in the way, um, in the way of these cups, and it's like literally the tangible of like, I don't know what to do. It's too big. It's too scary. Um, I'm blocked. I can't make a decision. And um, I think especially when there's some sort of shakeup at home, sometimes there's like maybe a point where you have to make a decision, um, to like say yes or no, or decide what it is you're going to do to manage, or maybe if it's even, if there's nothing you can do and you just have to like cope with what is, um, you can struggle with, okay, how do I ground myself? I'm so shaken up, I don't even know what to do because I'm out of routine. um, I don't know, like if you've had to move, like I don't even know where the glasses are. So there's almost like analysis paralysis, um, with when there's some sort of shakeup at home. So bringing in the Wheel of Fortune, it's uh, to like decisions related to upheaval at home. It's like sometimes you just have to make the best decision with the information that you have. There's no perfect decision. There's no right or wrong, actually. Um, a lot of the times, my mentor has told me there's no rights and wrongs. There's just left and right turns. And sometimes you go left and you're not liking how that's going, or it's not feeling right, so you go right. Um, so just trusting that maybe there isn't one particular right answer for you during this time of upheaval. You're just going to have to make the best choice that you can with the information that you have, and more will be revealed. Um, so that is our Wheel of Fortune reading today. So, just a quick recap. Our reading today was, where do we need the Wheel of Fortune in our lives? It's when there's some sort of upheaval close to home, could be literally mean home, family, something close in your like daily life, um, and there's fear and anxiety and upheaval, and also a need to make decisions. Just trust that just this is life on life's terms, and like sometimes there's going to be bad times and sometimes there's going to be good times, and maybe right now it's a hard time, and just trust that you're doing the best that you can, and things maybe more will be revealed, and also sometimes things just don't make sense, and so just surrendering to the great mystery of the Wheel of Fortune. um, I hope that helps. If you're going through a hard time with upheaval, I'm sending you positive thoughts and encouragement, um, and I know you can get through this. This was a collective reading, not an individual reading, so this may not resonate at all and might make no sense, and that's okay. Maybe next week's will make more sense for you. If you do want an individual reading, please feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website or find me on Instagram and book an individual session that way. And I hope to hear from you. Otherwise, I will see y'all next week. Have a great week.